Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I join you to call an end to an era. Conor McGregor has never pulled out of a fistfight. The man has 4 children. McGregor's never pulled out at home. May we all join in a moment of silence for the era of Conor McGregor showing up to every fistfight ending today. Are you surprised? Are you really surprised? Do you remember when Conor smelled that beer? Who has not seen that video where Conor's doing some type of video conference interview? He's at the Forge Inn. They put a beer in front of him. He goes, "It's been 5 weeks. It's been 5 weeks and 5 days. I haven't had a beer." And he grabs the beer and he smells it. He just looks. That is the look of an addict. That's not good. That's not what you want to see preparing for Michael Chandler. You think Michael Chandler is having trouble not drinking beer? My man would have a lot more trouble not slamming medicine balls. Michael Chandler's going to come healthy. Conor, lifestyle changes when you get another digit, you know? I know millionaires. I've met millionaires. I have a couple friends who got some money. Nobody's got proper 12, owns part of BKFC, has fought Floyd Mayweather, owns the top 4 out of 5 UFC pay-per-views. Conor's on, he's on another level. There's that old, Marvin Hagler, sleep in silk sheets. You don't want to get up to run. Conor's past that. Conor's sleeping on whatever sheets they got on the Lamborghini yacht. Is that what he owns? So who knows if it's an injury? It was interesting to see Dana White announced he would fly out to Ireland after the press conference got canceled. I wonder what's going on. I know who knows. It's Dana White. But I haven't seen anything from Conor. I haven't seen anything from his camp. So we'll be in the dark. Dana said injury. Could be, folks. One that's not so surprising is Khamzat Chimaev. I mean, this guy gets super sick sometimes. So all the best to Khamzat. We're seeing like hospital bed photos. It is crazy to see one of the healthiest looking, strongest looking people, deal with serious health problems like that. So all the best to Khamzat Chimaev. In steps, in Khamzat's place, Ikram Aliskerov versus Robert Whittaker. Does Ikram deserve it? No. Is it interesting? Yes, of course. That definitely saved a fight night. For a fight night, you guys are getting a hell of a treat. Rooting for Robert Whittaker big time. I'll have to break that one down. In Conor McGregor's place, Michael Chandler's going to have to take a break because they called in the big guns. Okay? When the UFC needs a main event, they call Brazil. They call for a hitman. This is a mercenary. They say, "Give me the guy with the bow and arrow." They called in Alex Pereira. Alex Pereira versus Jiri Prochazka for the light heavyweight title is a really good fight. A really cool fight. Interesting rematch. I think that, they're both at the top of their game right now, especially Pereira. He's on fire. I know you guys saw me absolutely, completely jump on the Pereira train before that UFC 300 fight. And it turned out pretty much exactly like I said. This time, I think this is a better fight. I think this is a closer fight. Jiri Prochazka is more well-rounded, capable of more weapons. But you're walking into potentially kickboxing most of the fight, right? With Pereira, Jiri Prochazka gets hit too much for me. So early lean, Alex Pereira, main event of UFC 303. I'll give you guys that right now. Cool though. Cool that Pereira steps up. This guy's gonna have the best year in UFC history. I mean, Alex Pereira is on speed dial if you need him, and they've needed him. Remember when Khamzat Chimaev was that guy? You remember back when Khamzat Chimaev would fight consistently? Wasn't that great? It was like part of his reputation. Those days are long gone. Co-main event, Brian Ortega versus Diego Lopez. Okay. Okay. That is good. Brian Ortega finishing Yair Rodriguez was awesome. It was a really career-turning moment for him. He had a lot to prove. And you saw that he's not out of his prime. He's going to be at the top of the division. And now, this matchup, Diego Lopez is wild, and I've picked him in his last 3 fights, and he's delivered really nice. I picked him over Super Sadiq Yusuf, and he really delivered a nice knockout there. And I mean, Diego Lopez is on fire. So Diego Lopez versus Brian Ortega is really cool. Early lean Brian Ortega. I mean, come on. Diego Lopez is on fire right now, and he's really good at jiu-jitsu, which Brian Ortega is good at jiu-jitsu. It'd be nice to see some exchanges on the ground. That would be good. I think they're going to strike a bit. I think Diego Lopez is going to be dangerous, but maybe as the fight wears on, we could see Brian Ortega get some positions on him. I would pick Brian Ortega on the mat too. I mean, even though Diego Lopez is really good, I just imagine him on bottom in this fight. We'll see if I'm right. Brian Ortega trains with a lot of great wrestlers. I know his wrestling coach up here is from the early UFC days, Paul Pereira. He trains with, all those good guys over here in Huntington Beach. So I'm sure he's going to be very ready to wrestle. So interesting matchup with Diego Lopez. What else we got? Anthony Smith versus Carlos Ulberg. The UFC kind of did it. I mean, they're bringing you matchups that are pretty awesome. Anthony Smith versus Carlos Ulberg is a better one for Carlos Ulberg. Like at least him and Jamal Hill. Jamal Hill was threatening really big with that overhand right. More dangerous, I think, than Lionheart Smith. This is a smaller step up. Lionheart Smith can potentially take him down, which makes it interesting. But if this thing's on the feet for enough time, Carlos Ulberg's going to smack the shit out of Anthony Smith. So let's go Ulberg, let's go Brian Ortega, and let's go Alex Pereira. Early UFC 303 picks. It's too bad McGregor's out. I mean, Dana tried flying out there to save it. Who knows what ended up actually going down when Dana went out there? Dana White knows that. MMA journalism. Can I trust the journalist? Please meet for those scrums, or if all you can get is the, him up at the podium, ask Dana these questions. We need some details. Push him. I'm interested to see if he did fly out and what happened. Cody calls. Yo, what's up, guys? It's 1:30 in the freaking morning. Why am I up? Because I don't give a fuck. That's why. Enigma, what's up? Thoughts on Ikram, right? Versus Robert. Yeah, man. Robert Whittaker is so much more experienced and so much better at striking. You got to think Robert Whittaker can put it on him on the feet. If Ikram Aliskerov gets these takedowns, though, he is incredibly powerful. He'll zap the energy out of anybody. Really interesting one, especially since it's a main event, so they're going 5 rounds. I like Robert Whittaker in 5 rounds, but give me time to rewatch Ikram's fights, and that's interesting. It's a weird one because Ikram doesn't really deserve it, right? But he's good, so we'll see what he does. Did you expect Alex Pereira on 303? If McGregor's not in, of course. Who else are they going to call? The UFC is a little short on superstars. John Jones, right? He fights once a decade. Who are they going to call? So McGregor's out. Alex Pereira's star rose. When he knocked out Jamal Hill in the main event of UFC 300, his star rose for sure. So he is more of a draw now. He's worth more money. He's going to draw more pay-per-views. It's Alex Pereira all day. Thank you for hosting. Is McGregor canceled? McGregor's out, Patrick. Hey, brother, I'm on lunch right now. It's 3:44 a.m. in Huntley, Illinois. Patrick, it is 1:45 here in Huntington Beach, California. Good morning to you. I'm going to go to bed. So good night. And we got some fist fights. The UFC did it again, where I think they knew a couple days ago that McGregor wasn't going to fight. Let's be honest. They were waiting to get that new main event signed to announce it. They know how to keep a card alive. They did it again. We'll rejoice. Good to see you all.